Hi, the Chesterfield Township Library has allowed me, Mr. Mike, another drawing video with you guys. Today I'm going to give a shout out to my heroes at Selfridge Air National Guard Base, where we're going to do the Wright Flyer. We have basically our basic shapes as we usually use, our triangles, our squares, and our circles. I prefer to use 6H pencils, nice and light. I do use black marker to trace, which I'm going to be able to use so you can see this darker. A ruler on occasion if I really need some straight lines, and of course my eraser to clean everything up when I'm done. So we're going to begin with our basic shapes. It looks a little complex, please do not be intimidated. This is actually easier than it seems. Our basic shapes, we have rectangles for the wings. Braces are basically just, I'm using lines. I can use rectangles later on. Triangle for the rudder, and big rectangle for the tail. A couple more rectangles for the front end, and the braces are rectangles as well. So you can use straight lines if I'd like, and use rulers, that's fine. If I don't want to use straight lines, I'm going to do everything by hand. Let's see how straight we can make things at the end of the day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start out with my longest shapes, which are pretty much my wings. So if I start in the center of my paper, move up a little bit, we're going to have one long line that's going to run almost entire length of my paper, a couple of hand widths actually long. It runs on an angle. Everything's going to run parallel to these lines, so we're going to make several of these. I have one long one. I'm going to kind of offset it a little bit, start, and then redo the back side. So a second line on that back, so two long lines on an angle. Now I can round them or I can make them rectangles, square them off. I'm going to make pretty much rounded corners so I can have a nice clean edges. So it looks a little flat, almost like a popsicle stick. I'm going to make a couple more of those. I'm going to make one long one again underneath it, down all the way across, almost the same length, so they're kind of lining up. Now I'm going to turn back on this one real quick. I'm going to turn back on this side. I'm going to end. I'm not going to finish that long line yet, and I'll show you why. It's going to be almost like a sandwich. I'm going to put a pilot in there, so I had to put Orville. Orville is piloting at this time. So I'm going to start right in the middle of my rectangle. I'm going to go down a little bit and make his hat. So I make an oval for the hat. For his brim of his hat, another oval for the brim of the hat. So it kind of sticks out like two coins that are offset. His head's going to be underneath it, so a circle underneath. And then his body is going to be a nice triangle. So I can put a little tiny little neck of a half circle, and then I can put this nice little rectangle body and stop, still leaving room because I need to come forward a little bit on that body on the right hand side. A little bit of foot, so a little oval for the foot. I'm going to go from the middle of that foot out over the leg, toe, and then back. So he's got a little body, a couple of feet kind of bracing himself. Put a little hand on one side and a little oval for the hand on the other. Now he's kind of sitting in there all by himself, so now I can complete the rest of my plane. I'm going to make my braces next. So starting way at the top brace, I'm going to come down just a straight line from the underside of one, almost touches the bottom, and run one right next to it. Round off the bottom. Now it's going to be one side, and with the other side, down, down, round it. At the end, I'm going to go down, down, round it. Not quite at the edge yet. He's got to be able to see, so I'm going to make two more long ones right next to him. One on one side, another long stick going down and down next to him. And then in between, right in between those two, we'll go down, almost down again to touching the front. And stop. And right in the middle of these two, down and almost touch. Now that everything's kind of squared off, now I think I can make that back line as I did this one here. I can start at this end and keep going down. Just keep going across, across, across. It's lining up as kind of neat and as straight as I can to stick out the backside and end. So he's got two long runs. Now the back side, I've made these front braces. The back braces are just going to come down, but they're not going to go all the way to the bottom like I did before. They're going to stop. So right next to these poles, make another series of poles. They're going to stop a bit short. Do they have to be perfect? Of course not. It's a cartoon. We're working on it. So now he's almost like in a cage. Two boxes and he's sitting pretty close in the middle. Now I'm going to make a rudder real quick. So the rudder, I can find the middle of my long run. So it's about here. Make a triangle. Another triangle next to that, or on top of that actually. So a nice long rudder brace. So it's triangle and then a line down. So it's making a couple of different triangles. Now I make his rudders so I can make a vertical lines that run parallel to these. Kind of box it out with a nice box. So he's got a little rudder behind it. Now he needs the front end, otherwise it's not going to work very well. Remember how we made these very long front lines? Well, these are the top wings. These are going to be a little shorter. So 2 short wings kind of out front. I can turn around and go back, turn around and go back. Now this one I am going to make a bottom one. So out as well. Out as well. Turn around. And turn around. I guess you can think about it as 1 big hot dog, 2 big hot dogs, and 2 little cocktail hot dogs. Now I'm going to make my braces. Down and down. Down and down. Remember how we went down and down before? Oh, and then I can make my center braces so it all kind of holds it together. But it's floating by itself, so what I need is a couple of lines that are going to connect the wings to the back. So I'm going to start at the bottom of this wing, work my way back to the flyer. Bottom of the wing, back to the flyer. Over the wing, jump over, back to the flyer, to the wing, back to the flyer. I'm going to end it there. Now that's pretty much as much boxy as I'm going to make it, but I'm going to add some details real quick. Some wrinkles in the back rudder area. I can make wrinkles on the top of the plane itself, where you'll see some of the fabric or the ribs of all the bracing on the top of the wings. I can do that for the front wings as well. Give it something to give it a little more floating. Everything's moving from side to side, which is good because moving is good. My braces, nothing more than a couple of verticals each. And this is the fun part. I get to make a bunch of X's. So now I can make X's inside my squares just to give it a little more bracing. Nothing fancy. They just look little ribs. Now the bracing and the cables on these are more fun as well. So we're going to go from one pole to other pole. So top of pole, down to bottom of pole, top of pole, to bottom of pole, top of pole, the bottom of pole, top of pole, the bottom of the pole. Oh, I'm going to jump over him so he can see. And top of pole, the bottom of the pole, top of pole, bottom, top to bottom, top to bottom. And now I have a bunch of bridging. I'm going to stop right there. I'm not going to get any more detail. Now, Orville's flying. We need to put Wilbur. Wilbur ran alongside to balance the flyer. So he's going to sit down here below. I'm going to make his hat first, just like I did Orville. I'm going to make his hat first. Make his little brim. His little head for circles. Just a bunch of circles. Little tiny neck, half circle. Now the body's pretty quick, I think. I can make his little shirt. Little sleeves. Shirt sleeves. And these little hands, there's like these little circle hands if I want. Not a whole lot of detail, so I didn't put a lot of detail on his, so I'm not going to put him on his as well. I'm going to bend his knees slightly. So he's got 3 bent knees. Heel, foot, heel, foot. So he's going to stand underneath. I'm going to make him fly. And in order to make this fly, I need to have something of a guidance or a ground level that shows this is ground and this is sky. So underneath I'm going to make a shadow. I'm actually not going to trace a shadow. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make the outline of the flyer. So underneath this front part, I'm going to scribble a shadow up. And I'm also going to scribble a shadow back. Now these wings are fairly large, so I get to make big scribbles for these. So I'm going to make a big scribble forward, a big scribble back. I get to color with my Sharpie. I usually don't do that often. And the tiny little tail that goes back, and then another T finishes off that tail. So now it's a shadow, so he's that high off the ground. I need to show the ground. A lot of people like to show the ground down here. I'm going to cut the paper and make the my horizon line, which is where the sky touches the ground, way up toward the top. Now they're on a beach, so I'm allowed to make some dunes. So I'm going to make just a couple of hills starting at one side. Just going to follow along. Oh, maybe a hill back here. So he kind of ends. Not going to worry about everything detailed inside. It's going to make a little mess. Is he flying? Sure. Has he got some speed? Sure. Unusually, I'm going to make a little cartoon popcorn cloud. So it's just a bunch of half circles. Oh, sorry. I'm actually making whiz lines. No one likes those on occasion. But my speed is pushing my flyer forward. So on December 17, 1903, for 12 seconds, our first Wright Flyer flew in 27-mile-an-hour headwinds, piloted by Orville, with Wilbur running right beside it, keeping it going, keeping it stable. Success. Flight was achieved. Well done, everyone. Enjoy this one. If you need more information, you want to draw more, obviously go to the library, get some books on the Wright brothers, get some books on flight. Check out all the videos that you can. You can see those things online as well. But if you check out this video and like this video, hit share, put your pictures underneath it. And I hope you guys had as much fun as I did. Thanks for joining me. Have a great day. Bye, guys.